Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. When Maharaj Baba Virsa Singh Ji left his physical body, we were wondering, how can we carry on his mission without him? But I thought at least we should know what is his mission. So I remembered what Maharaj told me. He said, Gobind Sadan's mission is to help everyone draw closer to God. So Maharaj gave us some very simple, very practical, very powerful ways to stay closer to God. One is to recite Nam, Ik Onkar, Satnam, Sri Vaheguru, as much as possible, all the time. Another is to read Japsap, the soaring, powerful hymn of Maharaj's praises, God's praises, by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Another is to do seva. Maharaj gave us seva that if we work hard with our hands and recite Nam, the mind becomes clear of all those things that burden the mind. And what is left? Nothing but God. And he gave us meditation. Again, very simple. He taught us to concentrate on that form of God that we most love and recite Nam. So by these simple means, we become closer and closer and closer to God. Another point, a very important aspect of Maharaj's mission is that we live and work and worship together according to Guru Nanak Dev Ji's very simple, straightforward path to God, which is to work hard by honest means to support yourself, to always remember God, and to share with others from what you earn. And this is our life at Gobind Sadan. We live in community as brothers and sisters, always remembering God. We should not have any expectations from our seva. We just do and let Maharaj do the doing, because he's everywhere. He didn't leave us. He's still here doing everything, and we couldn't manage anything without him. He also gave us the very practical way to bring respect for all prophets of all religions, which is to celebrate all their holy days. So we keep doing that at Gobind Sadan. And we know that all the prophets came to help us. Nobody came to divide us from each other. So why is this important? If you look at the world today, what do you see? Violence, hatreds, divisions, wars, oppression, injustice, corruption, crime, destruction of the environment. So many negative things, depression, suicide. But if we love God, if we follow Maharaj's mission, we can't hurt anybody. We love everyone. We love God, and we love God in all of creation. So in today's conflict-ridden world, it's very important that we should become closer to God, closer to God, closer to God all the time. And all these divisions and hatreds and injustices and inequalities will automatically drop away. So now, how to spread this mission? Gobind Sadan is a wonderful place. To me, it's like paradise. I'm so happy to live here. But we can't build Gobind Sadan everywhere. It's really not possible. But what does Gobind Sadan mean? It means God's house. So God's house includes everything. It's not just in one place, it's everywhere. Everybody's in God's house, and the closer we become to God, the more we see that everybody, everything is our own family. Everybody's our brother and sister. Everything is beloved to God. So to help spread this message that Maharaj was giving constantly throughout his life, I started writing out the stories from my diaries. I have 50 diaries of the time I spent with Maharaj. And I put them on a little website called www.storiesfromparadise.org. Also, we continue to welcome people from all over the world, all over India, all kinds of people to visit Gobind Sadan. when they come here and when they see what amazing place this is, and they see the love and the happiness in the eyes of the people, it has a tremendous impact on them. And if they stay here for a while and do the spiritual program, do the seva, has even more impact. So letting people come, encouraging people to come physically to Gobind Sadan is a very important part of spreading his mission, because then they go home and what has changed them also changes other people. We also started a little program, very simple, but very wonderful, very precious. We get together with the foreigners who come here and we read Guru Granth Sahib together. We study it line by line, not intellectually, but spiritually, because Guru Granth Sahib is a great treasure of mystical wisdom. It's not just for Sikhs, it's for everybody. We read one line at a time and then we discuss it among ourselves from our own spiritual experiences, our own lives. We don't come to any conclusions, nobody is an expert. And then we choose one line and we meditate on it. It's very wonderful, very precious way of going deeper and deeper into the heart of God. Even now, we find without being able to get together physically, we can get together virtually. So with our Swedish Sangit, we get together in Helen's virtual room and we do Guru Granth Sahib meditation together. And it's so wonderful. Anybody can do this anywhere. It's so simple. Then Maharaj told me we should have an office in every city. When he was in his physical body, he told me this. And so now I wonder, how can we possibly do that? But I think he didn't mean a physical office. God's house is everywhere. Wherever people get together, remembering that one God, God is there. Maharaj is there. We're all in God's house together. May everyone draw closer to God. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह। मैं इमाम मस्जिद नूर इलाही गोविंद सदन गुरुद्वारा गदाईपुर बाबा बिरसा सिंह जी महाराज की पावन धरती है, उनके ही द्वारा यहाँ सारी चीज़ें स्थापित की गई। मंदिर, मस्जिद, चर्च, गुरुद्वारा। हमारे लिए भी हुक्म आया है महाराज जी का कि मोहम्मद साहब का हुक्म है कि यहाँ मस्जिद भी हो। मेरे लिए आदेश हुआ कि आप मस्जिद पर जाइए, मस्जिद जो है आबाद कीजिए, यहाँ बहुत संगत आएगी। यह गोविंद सदन का नाम पूरी दुनिया में जाना चाहिए और पहुँच रहा। मेरे जहाँ तक ख्याल है, हम लोग भी अपनी मोहब्बत लोगों तक पहुंचाने की कोशिश करते हैं। बाकी मेरे महाराज बाबा बिरसा सिंह जी का जो हुक्म है वो इतना प्यारा हुक्म है कि शायद कोई भी संगत इसको अगर सुनेगी तो उसको अच्छा लगेगा और वो चाहेगा कि हम इस मिशन को आगे बढ़ाएं। क्योंकि महाराज बाबा बिरसा सिंह जी का हुक्म कि मानुष की जात एक समान, ये जाति धर्म जो है ये अपने अपने एक घाट हैं। वो रास्ता जो है तमाम है, अनेक रास्ते, चाहे जिधर से जाओ जाना वहीं पर है। तो खुदा तक पहुंचने के ये रास्ते हैं और उन्होंने सबको अपने अपने रास्ते पे खड़ा करके एक रास्ता दिखाया। और सबसे बड़ा रास्ता ये है कि मोहब्बत के साथ एक दूसरे के साथ खड़े रहो, एक दूसरे के दुख सुख में साथ दो और जो अच्छी चीज़ें हैं उनको दुनिया तक फैलाओ और बुरी चीज़ों को पर्दा डाल करके दबाओ। ये महाराज जी का मेरा हुक्म था। मेरे लिए पर्सनल जो है, महाराज जी कहा करते थे कि आप मस्जिद की सेवा करो, यहाँ बहुत संगत आएगी, आपको लोग सारी दुनिया में जानेंगे। तो इसमें कोई शक नहीं है, ये गोविंद सदन की धरती पे जो है मस्जिद है, दुनिया की एक मिसाल है। और हम तमाम तरह के फितने फसादों को छोड़ करके हम इंसान बन करके यहाँ पर जी रहे हैं। और सबके साथ यहाँ ईद में, बकरा ईद में सारे धर्म के लोग होते हैं नमाज़ पढ़ने में। जुमा में भी कभी हमारे तमाम संगत के लोग आ जाते हैं, नमाज़ पढ़ते हैं। इतना प्यारा दर्स होता है कि अगर हमारी संगतें इस दर्स को देखेंगे तो वाकई उनके दिल में अगर थोड़ी बहुत नफ़रतें होंगी तो वो दूर हो जाएंगी, मोहब्बत पैदा होगी। हमारे महाराज का उपदेश ही है मोहब्बत को फैलाना और नफ़रत को मिटाना। ये गोविंद सदन की पावन धरती से मैं आप सबको हाथ जोड़ करके प्रार्थना कर रहा हूँ कि आप सब तमाम दिल के कुफ्रों को हटा दो, मोहब्बत पैदा करो, एक दूसरे के साथ मोहब्बत से ज़िंदगी बसर करो। इसी में खुदा भी राज़ी है और इसी में इंसान भी राज़ी होना चाहिए, क्योंकि इंसान जब राज़ी होगा तभी तो खुदा राज़ी होगा। हम एक दूसरे इंसान को राज़ी करते रहें, ये महाराज जी के मिशन को, महाराज जी की बात को पूरी दुनिया तक पहुंचाते रहें। मैं बहुत हाथ जोड़ करके ये गुजारिश करता हूँ सबको, इस प्रोग्राम को, इस गोविंद सदन को आकर के देखो और देख करके इस मिशन को आगे बढ़ाओ, ताकि लोगों के अंदर मोहब्बत पैदा हो, एक दूसरे से नफ़रतें जो पैदा हो रही हैं वो ख़त्म हो करके हम दुनिया में जब तक रहें मोहब्बत से जिएं, जब जाएं तो भी मोहब्बत से जाएं। कोई इंसान ये कहने वाला हो कि ये आदमी अच्छा था जो दुनिया से चला गया, इतनी कमाई कर लें। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
गुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। आप सबको महाराज जी दे प्रकाश जी दिवस जी लख लख वाधाई। Govind Sadan USA was started in 1987 when Rauf ji and his dear wife Joginder ji located a farm as directed by Maharaj ji to particular area near Syracuse called Central Square. The owner was a widow who had a dream that she should sell the farm to the person who is coming. And Ralph ji was founding president of Govind Sadan USA. After that, Major Kirpal Singh Baveja and his wife were resident caretaker of Govind Sadan USA. And editor Saab Gurbachan Singh, whom we call editor Saab, and his family followed after that. And since editor Saab is no more, now his wife Manjeet Kaur, whom we call Auntie Ji, is currently the resident caretaker as well as president. We are all very thankful to all of them for their service to Govind Sadan. As you might all know, the building was put on the fire in November 2001 by some local misguided youths. They were caught and sentenced eventually, but Babaji sent message to the court that we have forgiven these kids. And after their sentence, was over, these kids came to Gobind for repentance. The new building was constructed where current Gurdwara is situated, and then there is a separate place for Havan meditation. And we have been doing monthly program there where Sangat from all over US and Canada meets once a month for 3 days. We stay over who are from out of town, and we do Akhand Path Sahib and other sevas and meditation. So this continued, and we also occasionally have some interfaith programs, and Ralphji is kind enough to bring some interfaith people, and we are very lucky that way. And post-COVID, like we have started doing everything remotely, including Akhand Path Sahib. You know, we all do Akhand Path Sahib remotely from our homes, and we pass on the turn using the video call, you know, showing the page and the location, and people from even from India and US, Canada, wherever, they take turn to do Akhand Path Sahib, and by Maharajji's grace, that's going on since last March.
And Maharajji de birthday di sabnu lakh lakh vadaiyan. Tan Tan Maharajji. When Uncle asked me for a bio last night, I thought it was a message that Maharajji heard my prayer, because when we celebrated the Mela and Maharajji's birthday in India, I would always share a poem live in front of Maharajji or sing it at his feet. And I was missing that this time when I wrote this poem specially for this occasion, and feeling kind of lost because I really wanted to share it live in front of Maharajji, which I did in my heart, but I'm very happy to share it somewhat in the same way as I used to all those years ago in India. So here goes. कोई मर्म नहीं, कोई धर्म नहीं, पथ पे पंथी ऐसे भी मिले, ऊंचा उठा अपनी रोशनी में, तूने कहा भुला दूं सबसे गिले, वो आग के जिसमें तपकर मैं सच सोनाली हो पाई हूँ, वो हवन तेरा, वो ज्योत तेरी, ये ज्वाला वहीं से लाई हूँ, तेरा हाथ शीश पर रहा मेरे, ये हिम्मत वहां से आई है, मरुथल से दुर्गम जीवन पथ पर जो ये आंधी में लौ जलाई है, मेरा ये एतबार तेरा है, मेरा रोम रोम हर कण कण का जीवन दान का हर क्षण तेरा है, जीवन के संग्रामिक पथ पर तू ढाल बना तलवार भी, मुझ पर आंच ना आने दी तूने एक भी वार की, जो अडिग है अटल है उस विश्वास की साक्षात सूरत है, उस भरोसे उस श्रद्धा की तू छाया नहीं, संपूर्ण मूरत है, महाराज कहूँ बाबा कहूँ, तेरे नाम से जीवन सजाया है, कहीं दूर नहीं मेरे पास है तू, तभी तो बाबुल बुलाया है, हर जरूरत को इच्छा को मुझसे पहले तूने जान के रोशन करी हर राह है, सांसारिक अंधकार से हटके तेरी रोशनी में जीने की बस चाह है, कुछ पासे कर्मों के खुद ऐसे फेंके हैं, मैं सोचूं जीवन है कोई दाव नहीं, पर इस संघर्ष की तपती बालू पर ये तेरे हैं मेरे पांव नहीं, कि आकर उठा लिया तूने पंखों पर, जब भी ऊंची चट्टानी चढ़ाई थी, बाहें फैलाकर गोद लिया जब सामने भवसागर की गहराई थी, इसे मेहर नहीं तो और क्या नाम दूं जो तूने मुझ पर बरसाई है, सराबोर मैं कब से भीगी हूँ, मालिक तूने ऐसी झड़ी लगाई है, पलछिन के लिए तुझे नहीं इजाजत कि तेरी नजर हटे मेरे रास्ते से, तुझे बांध लिया है निमानी ने, मेरे गुरु प्यार का वास्ता दे, तू गुरूर मेरा तू हुजूर मेरा, कि जिद करने का तूने हक है दिया, मैं झोली फैला कर बैठी हूँ, तूने सहज हंसी दे मान लिया, वो पुकार नहीं जो तूने सुनी नहीं, वो पुकार नहीं जो तूने सुनी नहीं, जो मेरे रूंधे कंठ से निकली हो। कोई घड़ी नहीं तेरे पहरे बिना, चाहे अगली हो या पिछली हो। चली जहर की लहर कभी, कहकर मैंने अरदास करी, बाबुल हवाओं का रुख मोड़ दे। तूने संदेशा भेजा मुझे, बीबा आज से चिंता छोड़ दे। तो रब है या मसीहा आया है, ये जो तूने बीड़ा उठाया है, कि मेरी नब्ज पे तेरा हाथ रहे, सुख दुख में तेरा साथ रहे। जब जब मुड़कर जीवन देखूं, हर पहर मुझे एहसास रहे, ये तू है, ये तेरी मेहर है, तेरी मेहर की नजर है, हर पल जो मेरे पास रहे। कलजुग के इस कायर जग में, कलजुग के इस कायर जग में तूने धर्म की तेग चमकाई है। पाठ हवन नाम जप तप तूने फिर वो रीत चलाई है। मुर्शिद मेरे, मुर्शिद मेरे, मुर्शिद मेरे तुझसे जोड़ी हैं, जग से उम्मीदें छोड़ी हैं। बेड़ी नहीं ये धागे हैं, मिन्नत और मन्नत में रंग कर जो मैंने तुझसे बांधे हैं। रंग लिया है मैंने खुद को, जो ये तूने अपना रंग दिया। तेरे रंग से पहचानी जाती हूँ, तू बाबुल है, मैं बिटिया हूँ, इस रिश्ते से जानी जाती हूँ।
ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਹੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ ਨਾਮ ਆਇਆ। ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹੀ ਨਾਮ ਅੱਗੇ ਸਪਰੈਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਨਾਮ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਪਣਾ ਹੀ ਜਪਣਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਬਸ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ, ਇਹ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਨਾਮ ਦੀ ਧੁਨ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉੱਠੋ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਔਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ, ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਜੋ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਨੇ ਹੀ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ। ਇੱਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬੜੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਮਾਰਕ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਵਾਈ ਡੂ ਦਿਸ, ਕਿਉਂ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੌਜਿਕ ਨਾਲ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਜਪਣਾ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਲਈ ਜਪਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਰਮ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਅੱਛਾ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ, ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਾੜੇ ਕਰਮ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਟਾ ਸਕੀਏ। ਔਰ ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਪਾਠ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ? ਜਾਪ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਪਾਠ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਉਸਤਤ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਰੱਬ ਦੀ ਉਸਤਤ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਕਰੋ, ਰੱਬ ਦੀ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਉਸਤਤ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਰੱਬ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਟਕਾ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਬੈਠਦੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸਮਝਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ। ਔਰ ਉਦੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਸੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਨਾਥ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਗੁਟਕਾ ਟ੍ਰਾਂਸਲੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਐਂਡ ਇਨਟੂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਐਂਡ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਹੋਰ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੜੋ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੱਚਮੁੱਚ ਇੰਝ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਰੱਬ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ।
And as I was thinking about some of the experiences, me being a simple man, I'm going to share very simple experiences with you. That my earliest experiences in Gobind Sadan was just playing and just running around in Gobind Sadan. It was like me going to my grandparents' house with a lot of aunties, a lot of uncles, a lot of cousins from Pind and from Delhi and from Gurdaspur and from everywhere. And we loved it. It was being on a vacation in your father's house. I recall those times when it was early morning drizzle in the middle of Gobind Sadan, peace and quiet, and only thing you could hear was the Havan and the Darbar Sahib. And the peacefulness of the mist, I think I can still feel that. And even whether you were a child or whether you were grown up, running around, even in the middle of the night and never feeling alone. It was a wonderful feeling, wonderful people, the intoxicating smile of Bhagat Ji. So it's like going to a family house. That's what I recall. I recall waiting endlessly to meet Maharaji, when is he going to come? When are we going to see? And when we see him, not knowing what to say, really have to be out of words, right? Meeting Maharaji and him saying, Mera, blessings to you, without me ever even saying a word to him. He just knew. I recall doing seva. a lot of seva with the pictures that Uncle showed today, with all the places and the simple food and the wonderful experiences. I recall the wooden huts of Shiv Sadan when things were getting set up, the tall sugarcane trees, the crops that we were amazed at, right? The big havan that happened in Shiv Sadan. Those are kind of my childhood memories that I don't remember a whole lot of things. I'm not philosophical, but I remember those experiences because those got ingrained in us. The sum of my experience is that this is the power of the guru. A guru makes extraordinary out of the ordinary and makes extraordinary ordinary. And that is how I feel. I know it's a very simplistic view, but I don't think there is any other way to look at it from my perspective.
Each day that I reflected, preparing for this panel, I was there. It was a continuum. I could smell the tuna, Baba Shichanji's Havan, the glimpse of the beautiful murti of Baba Shichanji, listening to Maharaji talk and sing. Maharaji sitting in the green room, in Gurcharan Auntie's room, driving around all over in Bronco and Datsun, by the fields in the Koti, in Shiv Sadan, by Gangaji, coming out of the Koti. That was a big thing. Maharaji Koti to bahar aaye ne. Kinni vaddi gal. And they used to be like dere ch halchal. Maharaji darshan de rahe ne. And flani jagah te de rahe ne. And you would just scurry there. Bhajde si log uthe. Maharaji de darshan no. And then on the Thada Sahib, outside Uttewali Koti. And me as a little girl tagging along with my parents, spending hours in Gobind Sadan and Gyaniji's room, the big banyan tree in the courtyard, jada hega, those are my memories. Maharaji standing by the banyan tree, kadi kadi hath utte karke, pahadi, Jesus's place, the laburnum tree jide pile full havante digde si jado full bloom hondi si, and his grace, tall and magnificent in his long robe, his beautiful dastar and a simarna. And of course, the benevolent smile. That was his grace, Maharaji. And that's how I remember him. And I want to thank everybody because you take things for granted. You know, it's inside us as we are all growing up. But I was able to revisit all these things while thinking about what the answers to the basic questions in this panel were. And all of you who grew up in Gobind Sadan would agree. We grew up and it was a wonderful upbringing. God was one. Okay. Joy was in Seva. Solutions to the biggest problems were in Jap Sahib, Ardas, Hukam, Chaur Sahib, Battiyan.
So we were at Havan, generally visiting, praying, and there was a hustle in the air. Everybody was like, "Oh, Maharaji is giving darshan," you know. So, and there was something inside us that, okay, the curiosity, you know, the calling, you could say, and we started following the crowd. And when our turn came, I had like, my mind had too many questions, I guess, and too many prayers. But the moment I entered the room, I was blank. I was like totally, you know, like I could not think anything. And when I reached to his feet, I couldn't see him for very long. He was like glowing, he was shining, and the experience was so serene, full of wonder. And I just forgot everything. And a kind of peace came over me. It felt like, you know, it's very hard to put in words. It was like out of the world experience. And and I found myself crying, you know, like I've met somebody whom I've been looking for, my soul was looking for, and then my life changed. It totally changed.
So Mataji's been part of my life ever since I've been born. My parents and my grandmother knew Mataji from the beginning. And I've been with Mataji quite a few times personally as a child, taking him to Niagara Falls, being with him on the road, many trips. That connection that I built with Mataji came through Seva at Gobind Sadan, USA. That's where it started from for me. Just the love of doing Seva, being part of Gobind Sadan community. And I didn't really understand Mataji's mission at that time. I was younger. But for me, the most thing was the Seva. I was very part of it. And when I really got to go see Mataji as I got older in India, I saw Gobind Sadan India and how much work has been done. Being at Gobind Sadan India, Mataji gave me the freedom to do whatever I wanted. I asked, I'm like, Mataji, मैं सेवा करना चाहता पर तुसी दसो किथे करा? And he just smiled and he goes, जिथे मर्जी तू जा, तेनू कोई नहीं रोकेगा. And that just gave me the freedom to try everything. Pehli baar I milked cows. I worked on the farm in the back. That was the first experience for me to see. And then with Mary Pat Auntie, I asked her how to meditate. And she asked me to sit underneath the tree there and start learning how to meditate. That was my first experience with that. I'll be honest, guys, Mataji's connection with me grew 100 times stronger when I really started to go within myself, when Mataji's physical presence had left this realm. For me, it was almost like trying to find him spiritually. And that built the most strongest connection with Mataji. And I realized for the first time in my life that I wasn't alone, that I had him and his energy with me at all times. I try and live my daily like that. I try and teach my kids the same way. We take Mataji's mission and we break it apart. And I ask my kids, what do they think it is and how they should go about it? So we have discussions like that.
Many experiences of Mataji throughout my career have showed me that he's always there. He's always listening. When I was in the labor room and I was supposed to do the first delivery of a patient, my senior came and told to me that this baby might not be alive. She was just warning me because it might be unpleasant. But by Mataji's miracle, the baby came out alive. He had a heartbeat. He was okay. Many such small incidences keep happening all over. Then when I moved to the US and did a residency over here, I've had some very tough calls, ICU calls, floor calls. I did them as part of work. You just hunker and keep doing your work. And later on, I realized my colleagues would say that Supreet and another colleague have the toughest calls. And I would look back and say, okay, they were tough, but he took me through them. I never realized when I was going through them that they were tough, but others told me, you handled a lot. When I enter the patient's room, I ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Baba Sri Chand Ji, and Maharaj Ji to walk ahead of me because they are his patients. Before I sit on my chair, I ask Maharaj Ji to sit down and start the day. And every day, like Supreet, I don't have Jap Sab on me, but I find that Naam keeps going on. Sometimes Jap Sab keeps going on consciously, subconsciously. In the mornings, I do my ardas before leaving to work, requesting Maharaj Ji to make me compassionate, knowledgeable, and efficient for all his patients. I think he's my strength. He's my knowledge. He's where I get the patience from. He's where I get the empathy from. He's the source of everything. He lets us dream and he makes those dreams come true.
Hello everybody, this is Helen from Sweden. Sat Sri Akal. I came to Gobind Sadan the first time 2012. I knew nothing much about Maharaj at that time, and as you know, of course, I didn't get to meet him in person. And yet, when I came to Gobind Sadan, I experienced something I had never been close to my whole life before. And through Maripat, through Gobind Sadan, and through the community at Gobind Sadan, I got to know Maharaj in his spirit. And since 2012, I've been back to Gobind Sadan most years, and it's sort of been a lifeline, I think, for my own life, and to keep in connection with Maharaj, to return at least once a year, and that keeps me going for the rest of the year when I'm back in Sweden. Now, of course, the Corona experience made it all very difficult when we realized that this time we cannot go to Gobind Sadan. This will be a year, and who knows how many years we cannot visit Gobind Sadan. So for the future, I mean, we learned something in these difficult times. We learned how we could use digital platforms to stay connected. We also learned that how valuable and precious it is to get together also in Sweden to do Havan, and how we can have that real connection with Maharaj. Even in Sweden, it's not necessary to go to Gobind Sadan. Of course, we knew it in our hearts, but it's even more precious when we meet up and do it together, when we gather around and ask Maharaj to be with us. We can feel his presence so strongly.
Sat Sri Akal. My name is Ulrika Liad Vedin, and I'm a Swedish yoga and meditation teacher. And I came to Gobind Sadan the first time in 2015, and I can't even put words on the impact the first visit had to me, and I have been continuing coming back. And for me, growing up in a very secular society, my parents never talked about God or about faith or anything like that. But I always had this longing. So when I come to Gobind Sadan, I noticed that there was something inside of me who felt that I was coming home. And I noticed that my yoga students, they also picked up this when I came home again. They could tell the difference in the energy, I think, and how every time I was, or I am, holding a class, there is this connection to Maharaji and to Gobind Sadan and to God.
Gobind Sadan – это земной рай с цветущими садами, аллеями и круглосуточно открытыми молитвенными центрами. Более 50 лет горит огонь старого Хавана. В Хаване Махараджи и в старом Хаване у огня мы читаем священные писания Джап Сахиб, Чанди Дивар и Хануман Чилиса, стремясь хоть в малом быть полезными этому миру и нашей огромной вселенной. Люди приходят в Гобинд Садан за благословением Бабаджи, за наставлением для духовного обучения, поклонения Богу и участия в добровольных работах. Впервые группа из Кургана побывала в Гобинд Садане в январе 2004 года. Нам посчастливилось быть на аудиенции Баба Вирса Сингха и получить благословение. И вечер собираемся у статуи Иисуса чудесного места ашрама, зажигаем свечи и читаем молитву «Отче наш» на разных языках. Бабаджи призывает нас повторять с любовью имя Бога «Ик», «Онкар», «Сатнам», «Сиривахе-гуру», «Бог един», «Он – истина». Наша энергия объединяется в радости общения, и мы их посылаем в пространство. На территории Гобинд Садана организована школа для детей. Мэриджи и Сивадары проводят большую просветительную работу с детьми во внеурочное время. Мы низко кланяемся Бабаджи и выражаем слова глубокой благодарности ангелу-хранителю Гобинд Садана, чудесной Мэри.
Dear Sangat, Sat Shri Akal, I'm Parampreet this side, and I would like to tell you about our student interfaith class. So this is a new initiative which was started after Maharaj Sahib left his physical body, and this was done to develop the children's inner quality to draw them to the right path shown by our beloved Master. So children, every Sunday, they come voluntarily to Gobind Sadan from our surrounding farms and villages like Ayanagar, Gadaipur and Jonapur. And they are from the age group of 3 to 18 years. And from past 13 years, they come so lovingly just to learn the teachings of Maharajji. So to encourage them and to develop their inner closeness to our Master, to the Supreme Power, to the Holy Spirit, and to make them aware of the teachings of Maharajji, and to make them appreciate all the forms of Prophet. So, with blessings of Maharajji, we try our level best to teach them the strong values like compassion, altruism, truthfulness, and faith. So many children have come for these classes that we had to divide them into two groups. One group led by Kabir Kathuria and another group led by Mary Pat Auntie and myself.